The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, I'm Donta.
And hey, I'm Dana.
And welcome to the Donta Show.
What's up, Village? It's your boy Kwame, the man with the plan behind the stands. I'm going to go ahead and make this quick because some of y'all got mouths and be talking mess in the comments and saying that the intro commercial is too long. So, I got something for you. Here we go. Let's get into it. Before we bring out these awesome kings, I need you to stop what you're doing. Excuse me? Excuse me? Ma'am? Sir? You? Yeah, you! Whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, I need you to go ahead and share this live stream. Donta and Dana didn't get all dressed up for you not to share their melanated goodness, so share. You share everything else up in here. Share some quality content for your boys. Now that we mentioned YouTube, are you subscribed to the Donta Show's YouTube? Oh, you're not? Oh, girl. I'm gonna need y'all to get it together. Join the village. Go over to www.youtube.com/Donta Morrison. And when you get a chance, head over to Dr. Morrison's. That's right, your boy got his PhD. Head over to Dr. Donta Morrison's website, www.dontamorrison.com, where you can learn more about the man, the myth, the legend known as Donta. And while you're at it, grab some TDS merch and his books. Yes, purchase those smutty books filled with smut. Grab The End of the Rainbow and Yesterday Clarified. And last but not least, head over to the company that put this all together, Pyro Media Network. Pyro Media Network is a proactive network focused on providing an innovative space for content creators and entrepreneurs. PMN is dedicated to giving its viewers a diverse entertainment experience while helping content creators elevate their production, engagement, and overall branding. To date, PMN has reached over 1 million viewers and listeners internationally, produced over 52 successful shows with high ratings and fanfare, and has housed over 60 content creators, brands, and businesses through entertainment and consulting services exclusive to PMN. Pyro Media Network is a network that makes you feel at home. So if you have an idea for a show, podcast, or need some professional video and audio production for your business or brand, then join the Pyro family today. Go ahead and visit www.pyromedianetwork.com and we will show you how to go to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome my brothers from another mother, the dynamic duo, the melanated kings themselves, Donta and Dana. Let's get it. Let's go!
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Donta Show. It is Tuesday, and I am here with you to make it happen one more again. Missed you guys on yesterday. We apologize, but it was a national holiday in recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So hopefully and prayerfully, you guys all had a wonderful day off. I know some of you probably had to go to work and deal with the people, but those of us that did not, we got to kind of not really lounge and chill, but we had some time to ourselves to decompress. So happy belated birthday to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We thank you, sir, for all that you did to make this show possible. Because I think without the efforts of MLK and Bayard Rustin, my man Bayard, let's not forget about Bayard, the man behind the man, Malcolm X, and all those phenomenal Black leaders of yesteryear made it possible that we can all watch the Donta Show, that we can all watch the liberties and the freedoms that we have, albeit equity is not here. Things are a lot better than what they were. They just more covert now, but another show for another day. So we're going to dig into a wonderful conversation on tonight. I have a phenomenal guest who is going to come and drop knowledge on just how to be a foster parent. I know a lot of you out there are like, I wouldn't mind having a foster child, but I got to go through all these hoops, all these hurdles and whatnot to get a little kid, and I ain't got the energy for it. But tonight's guest is going to break down a lot of the myths, misconceptions, and confusion associated with becoming a phenomenal parent, a phenomenal foster parent to a child in need. It is very important. Oftentimes we see all these celebrities, they go to Beirut and Bangladesh, and they come back to America with a new child, but the kids that are right here don't get those same luxuries. And I look at that and I'm like, wow, these kids from other countries and other lands, they're now millionaires. And the kids that are probably right outside their front door are still right outside their front door. So we got to do better. I know that we look at like, well, that's not my responsibility. That's not my problem. But it is a child. It is a child in need. And if you have the heart, the patience, the tolerance, the wherewithal to deal with the child, I think tonight's show is going to give you kind of the information you need and probably a little push in the direction towards fostering. I mean, you never know. You never know what's in store for you. All right. But before we get into tonight's conversation, I got to mention this. I just saw on the Thais report that the man, the legend, the icon, Andre Leon Talley passed away. So if anybody knows who Andre Leon Talley is, then trust and believe that it is a great loss. But for those that don't know, Andre Leon Talley, was a part of Vogue. Fashion extraordinaire, 80s and 90s icon. He was the man. He's a brother. He was a brother, and he was sitting next to Anna Wintour and all the other greats as they just brought out the latest in who's who, and he helped to just catapult a lot of fashion designers to the heights of fame, and many would not be here if it had not been for the work, the input, the savviness, the eye, the swag, the suaveness of the great Andre Leon Talley. So, sir, at 73, take your rest. Job well done. We applaud you for the seeds that you sowed, the trees that are here because of you. So, Andre Leon Talley, we celebrate you, sir. Thank you, and thank you again. So listen, if this is your first time checking out the Donta Show, I'm going to ask you right now to just go ahead and tag your friends, your family, your cousins, your loved ones, and get them all up in here. Get them up in here, because many folks probably were waiting for me to go live on my page. But yet again, I must remind you that the Donta Show airs on Pyro Media Networks, Facebook and YouTube pages. It will air on the Donta Show page. The recorded version will be on the Donta Show's YouTube page in a couple of days. So please, if you have not subscribed to the Donta Show on YouTube, make sure to do that. www.youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Once again, www.youtube.com/Donta Morrison. I'm getting that / better because it is a tongue twister and it fills my mouth with all kind of spit. Whenever I say / hold on. All right. Speaking of spit, I gotta go there before we bring on tonight's guest. I don't know how many of y'all saw the video of the pastor that literally spit in his hand in demonstration of what Jesus did with the blind man. So the brother, I'm not even going to say his name. I want you guys to Google and go on your own Facebook search. But the brother, the mega pastor, literally hawked up a loogie and spit, and it slowly dribbled out of his mouth into his hand. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Spit in his hand. And then the brother was standing there. I guess he was symbolic and representing the blind man. He stood there, and this pastor wiped the spit across his face. Listen, I want to get into the kingdom of heaven. I want to see my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ face to face. However, if it requires Bishop W. Todd Ervin spitting in his hand, a loogie in his hand, and rubbing it across my face, I may have to second guess some things and be like, Lord, did you call this? Is this a mandate from you that will allow me to get into heaven? I'm not sure. And we're in a pandemic. We're in the midst of a pandemic. And I'm all for a good demonstration during your sermon. I'm all for it. I'm all for a good demo. I'm all for some practical type applications during your sermon. But to spit, and all I hear is Whitney Houston, he spit in my face. I was mortified. I was mortified, not because he spit in his hand and wiped the spit across the guy's face, but because he did not do it right. That is not what the text said Jesus did. The text did not say that. The text said that he spit into the dirt and he made mud, and he wiped the mud across the blind man's eye. Jesus did not spit in his hand and smear it and slather it across a guy. No, that's not what the word says. The word says he spit in the dirt and he made mud and he rubbed the mud across the... Listen. For me in my house, you spit on me, we scrap it. That's just me. I don't know how your house get down, but you spit in my face and we get in our chunkums on. We rocking. We go in there. We have no choice, because now you've disrespected me beyond disrespect. And even for practical purposes, because he had to get the guy's permission, said, listen here, you're going to stand in front of the whole congregation and you're going to allow me to spit in my hand and smear my spit across your face in front of everybody. You okay with that? Yes, sir. I was okay with that, sir. No, sir, I'm not okay with that. I'm not doing that. Kick me out. Tell me to leave. I will go. So that's all I'm saying. So tonight we have Kimberly Ervin, who will be our guest on the Donta Show, and she is going to talk about the foster care system, how we can be a part of just helping a child just really bounce back from some dire situations and all that kind of stuff. So listen, we are going to now go into our special guest for the evening. So govern yourselves accordingly, village. And listen, while you are here, go ahead and invite your friends, family, cousins, and loved ones to watch the Donta Show with you. I'm asking you right now, share the love, share the page, share it with the people, and let's have a conversation. So without further ado, please welcome to the Donta Show, my sister, my friend, Kimberly Ervin.
Hey, Donta.
Hey, how are you?
I am great. I'm doing great. I can't complain.
So, did you want to chime in on the spin, or you want to just go on past that? I mean,
You can keep it pushing. I had no idea. You know, sometimes my day goes such that I don't get to visit Facebook until maybe another day or later in the day. And so I saw somebody say something about the spitting preacher or something. And I was like, what in the world? And then it came up on my feed and I was mortified.
Right. Taking aback.
3 abacks. Okay. I just felt like it was unnecessary. And I think what got my attention was he had apologized.
Right.
He had apologized. He went overboard and he, went too far. Yeah. I didn't know what he had gone too far with until I saw it. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You went too far.
Yeah. And I saw where he was going with it. I said, okay, this is a good demonstration. You're right. I can't hear, but I know something's happening and yada, yada, yada. But at that point, he should have gotten a handkerchief out of his hand and said, but I'm not going to do that. You get the rest. But to slaughter it across, I said, yeah.
I didn't even get that far. When I saw him bring it up, I moved. I moved. I scrolled down. I couldn't take it.
And that's what most folks, when I watch the comments, most folks say, well, I didn't get past the first Hawk of the Loogie. I don't know what happened after that. And I think that's how we can get so caught up in trying to deliver a message that you lose people. So they ain't even get to the message, the meat of it, because you already turned them off. You pushed them away. So
well, Bishop can give a good illustration, but I tell you what, we will never ever. If I see that, I'm just going to take that running leap and just push him off the stage.
That's y'all can tell me, kick me out. I'm not doing it. Call me disobedient. Call me whatever. I'm not doing it.
Right? So. No, that can't happen. Not on my watch.
Right. So I am glad to have you on the show, and you and I have had conversations about the foster care system and fostering and being a foster parent. I was like, this would be a great conversation for the masses because there is a lot of I don't want to say confusion, but misunderstandings about processes associated, the end result. It's just a lot, and I have a lot of friends that are interested, but they're like, well, do I qualify? Is it for me? I'm single, and all those kind of situations. And I think this would be a good talk to kind of demystify everything that's associated with it and really give the reality of how it all works in an honest and fair conversation. Also in a way that we can just say, refer to the video on the Donta show to learn more about, the foster care process. So definitely. Wherever you want to start, we can just go.
First of all, I just want to thank you for having me. And we have been in conversation trying to put this together to see how we could make it happen. And, when you suggested that I come on your show, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. Let me just come on the show and, and not, have an audience of 5 here and an audience of 6 here, but an audience of thousands, right? Because you have a feeling of thousands of people. So this is a great opportunity. Global. That's right, global, So I thought, gosh, this is a great opportunity. But I wanted to say, just kind of talk about myself and how I got into this myself. I'm not a foster parent, but I'm the administrator for a couple of the offices that of the Foster Family Agency, Fred Jefferson Foster Family Agency. That's the company that I work for, owned by African-American woman, Dr. Cecilia Jefferson. She's been in business over 30 years, probably I think 32 years now, maybe. And started out as she was a social worker, and then she went to having group homes and moved from that to not just having group homes, but also having a foster family agency. And so a foster family agency is kind of like a go-between between the county and the actual resource parent. And let me say that they're no longer called foster parents, where they are now called resource parents. And I'll tell you about that too. Okay. So it's like a go-between. So we are like an agency that provides services, or we're in contract to the counties. We have 3 counties that we serve, or 3 counties that we serve. We serve Los Angeles County, which is DCFS. We serve Riverside County, which is DPSS, and San Bernardino County, which is CFS. And so our children come from all 3 counties, and we are the agency that's the go-between. So we support the children who are placed in the homes that we have, and we also support our foster families as well.
Okay.
We're that go-between the county. We're the ones that support our foster families and the children, and with the counties as they're
So
related.
so you guys are like the middleman between
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the actual parent.
So
Okay.
we provide services for the county because we're contracted to them. So we provide services for the county related to the children that are placed in our homes. But we
Okay.
also do our own recruiting of foster parents and our own training and all of that. So that's a bigger part of my job, is the training of the resource parents, getting them ready, or we call them applicants at first, getting them ready to become a resource parent. And so the first thing we do is we start with an orientation.
Okay.
So the orientation probably takes me about an hour and a half, just about. Now that we have been working from home, and that was a huge transition, we do everything on Zoom now.
Okay.
So we have our Zoom orientation, and then we have our Zoom classes. And I was telling my supervisor that it has been the best thing ever. I don't really think I ever want to go back to any of the trainings or meetings in person. I mean, one day we may have to, but
right.
For now it works well, because it really, when you're working through Zoom, you cut out a lot of time. So, there's no bathroom breaks, there's no coffee breaks. If, my thing is always, if you need to run and grab something to drink, you need to go to the restroom, take care of that. And we can just keep it pushing,
right,
while that
right.
person, and depending on the class that I'm teaching at the time, we do take breaks. So I may say like module 1 is like our longest module. There are 5 modules. So after I teach orientation, I go into 5 different modules. Module 1 is probably the longest one. So I do give a break in between there. Module 1 probably takes me about a good 3 hours to do. But I'm telling you, you're engaged the entire time, because I'm such a great teacher, right?
I do have a question, because I'm looking at I'm looking at the people that are joining in. Williams twins said they're interested, but didn't know where to start with the requirements.
Start with me.
Which is great. We got Nikel Lewis watching, says, "Great job, Cole. I love this." So I guess my question, and then Phoenicia, I see your question about resources. We'll get to that one. My question. So you said you do just use me for an example. I call you and say, "Hey, Mrs. Ervin, I would like to become a foster parent." Okay. So I will call you before I call the county or the state?
Don't call the county or the state. Call me.
Okay, so got that. So we line through that, because I'm thinking, because instantly, I know how some people think when they hear that you're the conduit, that I go to them and then they refer me to you. So,
and that happens sometimes. Sometimes when I've had people tell, I'm always asking whenever we have people contact us, one of my questions to them is always, so how did you hear about us? Okay. And they'll say, oh, I called the county to get information about becoming a resource parent, and they gave me your name on the list. And amazingly enough, the few times, or the number of times that I've had people tell me that they got our number or information from the county, we were kind of like, they said your name was one of the first ones that they, that they read, and they said, okay. And then sometimes, because we are an agency owned by people of color, sometimes, our people want to be represented by an agency, that's owned by people of color. So, that's something that is important to some people. It's important to a lot of our resource parents that our children are served, that are in foster care. So,
Okay. So I call you first. Step one, call
and I'm gonna give you all my information, every way that you can contact me.
All right. So listen, yeah. Okay, Nakel, we get it. Call her. Nakel is an ally for you. Nakel, we get it.
That's my boss.
We got it, Nakel. We got it. So we call you. We call you first.
Call me.
Hi, Maggie.
I think Nikhil is saying, call her. Yeah. Don't call me.
Right. And we got Maggie Daniels over there on YouTube. Hi, Maggie. How are you?
Oh yeah, Maggie.
So we call you first, and then basically just say, I would like to get the ball rolling to become you said it's a resource
parent. Yes.
Become a
and the only difference between a resource parent and a foster parent, and there really are no more foster parents, but everyone's been converted over to becoming a resource parent.
Okay.
Is that you're already prepared to adopt.
Got it.
So in times past, you were foster parent, and fostering, was kind of like a long-term thing. Resource parents, you may have a child for a night, just so that child will have somewhere to go before they put them in the home of a relative or something like that. But then there are times where you get a child and it'll be a long-term placement. And I always say this to the applicants whenever I'm training them. I always say, when you go through the RFA, they call it the RFA, Resource Family Approval Program. When you go through that, you are already set up to become an adoptive parent, to adopt a child. And I like to put it like this. You get a child in your home, maybe for some reason or another, unfortunately, their parents have lost their parental rights or something else may have happened. And you fall in love with that child, and that child falls in love with you, and it's a match made in heaven. And you decide, okay, I want to adopt this child, or this child decides he or she wants to be adopted. And, and then you just kind of go through the process. It makes the process much shorter than it would be. It's a long process, but it makes it much shorter than it would be if you had to go from becoming a foster parent and now going through the adoptions process. Okay.
So not instantly, but basically on the first call, and I see your question, Pam, I'll ask it. When we have this first initial call and I show that there is interest, do you automatically enroll me into the classes, or do you take preliminary information first to see if I'm even going to be worth the time?
So that part, what you just said there, is what we do in orientation.
Okay.
So we set up an orientation. I have it on my calendar to do it twice a month. I think I'm probably the most flexible administrator for a foster family agency in the world, because I'll do orientation on Saturday, on Sunday, just to, people are interested. And so, you do orientation. Like I said, it's about an hour and a half. And then I just kind of lay it all out there and just let you know what becoming a resource parent is going to be like, what it's all about. Give you some examples of some things. I'm very honest, very transparent, because I don't believe in pulling people into something that they're not really ready for. Right. And then, after they go through orientation, then they can make a decision, I want to go forward. And so if they want to go forward, then what we do is we sign you up, or we set up our actual training for resource families. So we have 5 modules. Now, based on the standards with community care licensing, we're supposed to have 12 hours of pre-service training. So that's also included, your orientation hour is included in that. So it's 12 hours, but with it being on Zoom and all of that, sometimes we get through the information a lot quicker. And I always let people know, to me, it's not about the hours, but it's about the information.
Is it 12
to go in to be prepared?
Within those 12 hours, is it just an outpour of information, or is it quizzes and tests and all that kind of stuff?
None of that. There's no quizzes or tests. We do have dialogue. We talk about some things. You see some videos. There are some things that I ask you to do. We talk about developmental stages. We look at charts. different things like that. But there are no quizzes and tests and all that.
I don't want to be asked, what would you do questions. I'm like, I set them outside. I don't know what I would do.
Well, that's the whole point of the training, is so that you don't sit them outside.
Yeah, what would you do? So is the training, because I know everybody's asked about you said 12 hours. I'm like, okay, it's not a long time. We talk about taking responsibility for a life.
Over a period of time, right.
But is there a way to condense it? Like if you got parts of the training that's talking about baby care, it's like, well, I don't want a baby. Give me the training that starts with 5-year-olds and up. You know, I don't need infant training.
There is no training for the 5-year-olds and up. It's basically, and I'll read to you what our different 5 modules are, because they all relate to all children. So the very first module is trauma-informed care, because as you know, just being removed from your parent is trauma. So that's not even included in whatever trauma the child may have experienced prior to being, placed in foster care. Then there's behavioral management and crisis intervention, because, you need to know why children are having certain behaviors and then how to handle crises. Then there's developmental needs and education. So we're training you in all areas. Cultural humility. We talk about the core practice model. So in all of that, we're talking about loss and grief. We're talking about discipline versus punishment. And I like to really kind of delve into that part, because sometimes we know how we were raised, and we say there's nothing wrong with how I was raised. I'm still here. I'm a good citizen. But that's not the way, the way we were raised is not always the way that we can discipline children. Right. And I always tell people, we think discipline is one thing, but it really is not, And so I tell applicants all the time, discipline really is about learning. It should never be about being punitive. It should always be about learning.
You're really deconstructing a lot of ideas too from these adults. They're like, well, just give me that child. I'll make them mind.
Right,
right. Just give them to me for a few days. There'll be a whole new kid. No, they'll be terrified more. Now they're sitting there stupid, like, why don't you guys leave me here?
Yes,
that is true. Let me get Tasha Steiger, who is a fan favorite of the Donta Show. Tasha wrote, glad to hear this FFA sharing the RFA process. I actually am one of the co-writers of the adapted PS MAP training curriculum and the newly adapted RFP curriculum for the county. I'm one of a few master trainer consultants left. So beautiful to see Fred Jefferson budding capacity for new applicants.
Thank you. Thank you. I need to hook up with you. Yes.
Thank you for that affirmation. Tasha, please connect with Kimberly Ervin, because both of you are doing great work in the community. Great work. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Listen, if anyone in the chat has questions about the becoming a resource parent and the process, we only are on step 1. We got some more steps to go through. So don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be right back in about 45 seconds. Go sip some water. Go make it happen. Be right back. We are back for the second half of the Donta Show, and my special guest on tonight is Kimberly Ervin, the administrator at Fred Jefferson. Is it Foster Family Agency?
Yes, Fred Jefferson Memorial Homes Foster Family Agency. Yes.
How come it's not Resource Parent Agency?
Well, because the name was created before they changed it.
How about that? just checking. Just want to know. So listen, before we went to break, we were talking about the steps to become a resource parent. For those that are not familiar with the term resource parent, it is the new title for foster parent. I like resource parent a lot better. It sounds like you're just a parent with this bevy of resources to make this child's life so much better.
Yes.
We talked about the parts of the curriculum that you go through during your orientation, and that is step one. So when you call Kimberly Ervin or any of the other administrators at Fred Jefferson, you're going to just be guided through the process of how you can be a blessing to a child in need. So we did step one, and it's 12 hours. However you want to spread out those 12 hours is completely up to you. And then what happens after that? You show up with the kid and say, here you go?
No. There is so after we go through the orientation and all the training, then we start with the paperwork. Okay, so this is the part that can be a little discouraging. However, we have the best person in our agency, who is our Lydia. She helps our applicants with their paperwork. She's so organized, puts everything together. And she is the one who, would approach them with our paperwork packet. And then they also get a background check. That's extremely important. So we do ask questions, do you have anything in your background? Do you have anything in your background? Do you have, even if, the police came by your house 25 years ago, and this happened to me before. I had an older couple who were they were going through the training. And so, we were at that time having them sign what's called a 50AD. And that's like a background check, but it talks about anything that you've ever done. You put it down yourself. I was driving drunk or whatever the case may be, if you have some type of hit on your record. And the gentleman, he didn't tell me, but his daughter was actually 25 years old. And when we did the background check for DCFS, that actually came up. And so I told him, I just pulled him to the side and I said, hey, can you tell me about this? What happened? How was it resolved? Because what happens is DCFS, they do not tell us if we can use a person or not. I mean, if you just have a number of things going on, of course, we're not going to use you. But if there are some things that have already been taken care of, or it's been a long time, then, we'll say, hey, we'll go ahead and use you. It just depends. And every case is different. And so I pulled him to the side and I said, hey, I put that out there. I told you that, you need to let us know so that we can be prepared for what was going to come back. Right. And he said, oh, it was 25 years ago. My daughter was grown and out of the house. I said, yeah, but, that stuff doesn't go away. So there are background checks. There's the FBI. There's the I'm sorry, I'm gonna blow it with that, but there are 4 different agencies that you check, and so you're checked all the way around. So it's not just what is it called, Department of Justice. But it's the FBI. They don't forget anything.
Right.
If you put anything and the FBI was involved, it never goes away. So, those things are pulled up.
But is there, I know that, for those that may be watching that's like, man, I want to do this, but, I shoplifted when I was 16, stuff like that. Can a person still become a resource parent if they have a background?
Yes, they can. If that background has been cleared, then yes. Now, if it's something more current and that record's still out there and we get that back, that, there's a hit there, then no, you can't, and there are some crimes that have been committed that you cannot ever be a foster parent. If you've murdered someone, if you've committed child abuse, if you've raped someone,
right,
those types of crimes, you cannot become a foster parent. That's it. That's all. And
that's expected, though. I mean, of course, if you have done something to a child or committed something like that, then hopefully you wouldn't think you can be approved to become a resource parent. I mean, and you should not be shocked if we say, no,
you should not.
This kid.
Yes, you should not. You should not be shocked. I'm getting all kinds of information.
If anyone has a question, please put it in the comments. By all means, put it in the comments if you have a question. I don't know, Kwame, if you see any that I may have missed, please post them across the screen. Thank you. This is from Dr. Phoenicia Mwepo. For couples, do both potential resource parents have to go through the trainings?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I just send Eddie and I stay at home?
No. And I always ask that question too. So, because, typically whenever someone approaches the agency about becoming a foster parent, it's usually the wife that says, hey, I'm interested in being a foster parent. And there have been times in the past where I didn't know they had a husband. And so I'm like, oh boy, I got to do this all over again.
Right. Okay.
And so because if both people are going to be foster parents, then they both need to be trained. They're going to be resource parents.
So what if during the trainings you observe that one parent is not into this at all? Mm-hmm. Will that create an obstacle?
It could create an obstacle because, say for instance, if it's a wife and she really wants to get foster kids, and the husband is saying, no, I don't want any more kids. We've raised all our kids. I don't want any more kids in the house. That could cause a problem. So they need to be on one accord, in order to, make this work the way it's supposed to work. And for really the most part about all of that is being on one accord. I'm sorry, my thoughts got thrown for a minute there. Being on one accord and being there for each other, because it's gonna take a team effort in order to be foster parents or resource parents for a child. You have appointments, you have visitation, with their families or their birth parents. They may be in therapy, just all kinds of things. And you want the child to have a normal type of life. So, there may be football, there may be, cheerleading, different things that we want the children to also experience, not just being in foster care saying, I can't do any of those fun things because I'm in foster care.
Right. And I'm going to come back to my response to that because I kind of got triggered a little like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So Jacqueline Berry asks, is it easier when the child is a family child? I'm assuming that's a child that's already a part of this is your bloodline. I want to become a resource parent. Would I have to go through, like if I had like a niece or a nephew, would I have to go through these trainings to get custody of my niece or nephew?
Yeah, you do. You still need to become a resource family. Now, there's a difference. So, for instance, if you are going to take custody of one of your family members, you could go through the county and become a resource parent that way. And they will allow you, if you pass your background check, they will allow the child to be placed in your home prior to you finishing all of your training. Because, of course, you want that child to be in familiar surroundings, rather than waiting on a resource family to be approved or being put in foster care in another resource family waiting for your actual family to be approved. So, I mean, I've had friends who been called in the middle of the night, got their nieces and nephews, and they did the background check. They put the kids in the house the same night. They were able to go through the process of the training, all of that over a period of time. So it's a little different when you're doing it, for a family member. However, if you become a resource parent with an agency like ours, you can do you can also foster your family members as well.
Got it. And you got questions coming through. Hold on. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Pamela asked, hi, Pam. Pam is down in Florida. Let's get Pam before she goes to sleep. Pam says, do they have an age limit to foster? I guess mean as far as becoming a resource parent.
Yeah, so they say you have to be at least 18. Now, me personally, that's the age. We can't discriminate, but we definitely need to really look and see if that person is mature enough to become a resource parent. We've had situations. Yeah. What do you mean too mature?
Like they 80, big mama. She wants to, become a resource parent for, like a little.
We do have some. Yeah, we can't discriminate. So we do have a lot of older foster parents, a lot of older resource parents. And sometimes they are the best ones, especially they have all the patience in the world. They have all the time in the world. They can really do well with children. They have experience with raising children. So sometimes they work out pretty good.
So someone in their 60s can become a resource parent. So you don't age out of being eligible to be a resource parent.
Well, Donta, I'm almost 60 and I'm sure they would allow me to be a resource parent.
Well, hey, I'm just saying. Okay, I think that's great to know because I know a lot of people that's like a lot of men and women, later in their years, they still have a love for children. It's like, man, I have so much more to give. My grandkids are in college, but I still got all this in me to give. Can I become a resource parent? And they may think they can't because it's like, oh no, you're a little long in the tooth. So no, but you just shared that, yes, you absolutely can become a resource parent.
We have people all the time who say, I'm retired, I have the time for it. My children, I have an empty nest. I want children to fill that empty nest.
Right.
All of that. So
let me call my mom. Let me text my mom. Mom, it's some kids out there. You can be a resource.
You can, and she would be great. Oh, they would be so spoiled.
Let me see. Bridget Paku asked a question. I joined late, so I may have missed it. I don't think you did. But is there insurance offered for the child while in your care, even if the resource parent have insurance through a job?
Oh, most definitely. You would definitely not have to use your insurance. Every child that's in foster care, they get Medi-Cal. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Sharitha asked, can you become a foster parent if you have a grown child that has a criminal record, but is a menace to society? And I guess that would depend on if that grown child is still living in your home, correct?
Right. Okay, because every adult 18 and over has to be fingerprinted. They have to go through that process. Even that, if it's your child, if it's your brother, your cousin, whoever's living in the home and they're 18 and over, they have to go through the fingerprinting process.
But do you guys put restrictions? Like if this parent does have children that, are some felons or they got this bad criminal record, do you say as long as you're a resource parent, they cannot come visit or they can't be around this child?
Yeah, and it depends on what that crime is. They can't live there. They cannot be what we call backup caregiver, those types of things. So no, they definitely cannot be a part of that process. Sometimes foster parents will use, if they have adult children, they'll use their adult children to be what we call backup caregivers. And the backup caregiver is an important part of being a resource parent as well, because that's the person who says, I have your back in case something happens. Life happens. And so when things happen, you need that person that can step in your place. The children won't have to go back to the county or be replaced in someone else's home, but they can stay right there in the home, or they can go to Auntie Betty's house because we know that Auntie Betty has already been cleared, and she's okay.
Okay. Good. And I like how Tasha added this caveat, just talking about family structures. Because I know in times past, when people thought about becoming an adoptive parent or foster parent back in the day, you had to be married. You know, it had to be this nuclear family, mother, father, you know, 2 bedrooms, you know, the kids' room, all this kind of stuff. That has changed over the years. Can you expound more upon
everything
how family structures?
everything Tasha listed there, you know, we have that in our agency. And I would say that probably, if not 50%, more than 50% of the people that come to us to become foster parents are single people. They are single people.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of our foster parents are single. We do have some married couples, which is great. But most of them are single people. So there is no discrimination there.
And what kind of monetary assistance do resource parents get for taking on these children?
So there is a monthly stipend that you get for taking the children. It's paid. So like, say for instance, if Donta, if we place little Johnny in your home, what is this, January, you would not get your stipend for the care of the child until the next month. So it's really a reimbursement, if you will.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You know, so I tell, whenever I'm doing the training out as well, I always tell applicants, I say, hey, you need to, if you're really considering this, maybe you should put like a little nest egg aside, because sometimes children show up with nothing, absolutely nothing, just maybe the clothes on their back, if that. And, you know, when they are placed in your home, they don't come with the check, you know, so you need to have some small resource to go out and get them pajamas, or, you know, some school clothes or underwear, you know, some shoes for their feet. I've seen kids come with flip-flops, a pair of shorts, and a teddy bear, you know, and so you need to be able to, you know, make sure that those kids have the things that they need. Foster care is not what most people probably remember, maybe folks that are my age, or maybe even your age, because, you know, when you went to school, you always knew who the foster kids were.
Right.
The way they were dressed, their, you know, maybe their hair wasn't combed, or all of those things. And so, you know, foster care is different now. These children, they come with resources, and there are rules put in place where, you know, there is no discrimination. You can't make a difference. These kids have to have new clothes every month, at least $73, $74 worth. But the thing I love the most, there is a monthly clothing stipend that they get. They get all of that. They have an allowance that they get. They get an allowance based on their age, you know. So it's a different thing now.
Now, is that monitored? Because I know a lot of people that sadly would use this process as a hustle game, you know, and say, well, let me just get some more kids to get some more money. Is that, and the kids would never look like the money they were getting. Right. You know, so is that more monitored now? For any kind of financial abuse that the parent may be doing?
Absolutely. So you have to prove that you are able to sustain your own household prior to becoming a resource parent.
Love it.
So whatever monies that come to you for the care of that child, you know, that should not be included to pay your car note, your house note. I mean, those are added, you know, funds that you can use. However, if you don't have a child placed in your home for a couple months, you know, you shouldn't be going into foreclosure because of that. You know,
so it's like child support.
Yeah.
Because when the dad gives the mom money, the money is for the kid. It is not for you to get your hair and nails done. So if the kid ain't there, then let's talk about this further. Okay, yeah, because I just know back, like I said, back in the day, I knew it was kind of a hustle to become a foster parent. It was a come up. You know, I'm gonna get these kids and give me some money, and then the kids were treated very poorly. You know, so speaking of that, do you also do home visits? Is that a part of your job, and what Fred Jefferson does?
Yes, absolutely. So, excuse me. So it's based on the county that you're with. So, like for my kids that come from San Bernardino and Riverside, they have to be seen 3 times a month by one of our social workers, an agency social worker. They still have visits from their county social worker 1 time a month, but our agency, our contract with them says that we will have an agency social worker in the home at least 3 times a month to visit the children, make sure that they're being taken care of and everything is good.
Okay.
With DCFS, with LA County, for the first 90 days, we're there weekly. And after 90 days, if there are no issues or problems, then it goes to twice a month.
Okay. Got it. So let me ask the question that I'm sure is on everybody's head right now. They're all just like, Donta, ask this question. How long from the time I make the first call to Kimberly Ervin and Fred Jefferson will you ring my doorbell and say, hey, here is your little bundle of joy, your precious angel? What is the estimated time frame? What is the normal time span from start to finish?
Okay. So that varies. And I like to be honest about that. It varies. Some of it has to do with what's happening in with the county, if the county is behind in doing certain checks. It also has to do with how quickly you as an applicant do your part, as turning in all your paperwork, getting everything signed and taken care of, getting your home inspected, getting your car inspected, all the different things that you have to do. That it's a process. So it starts with the training, fingerprinting, then the paperwork process, but then there's another part of the process. It's called a safe home study. And what that is, it's we have a social worker that comes into the home of the applicant, and they do like an interview.
Okay.
You first fill out some paperwork. It's like a survey, really, questionnaire, very long, very personal questionnaire. And you answer questions, and then that person comes into your home. They sit down with you and your family members, your children, yourself, your spouse, whomever is there. They ask questions. They do an interview. They kind of delve into your background, just figuring out who you are as a person who wants to become a resource parent. There may be 2 to 3 interviews. It could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then after that, that person who does the interview, writes the report, they need time to write the report. Then they need time to have the report checked over and approved by our adoption specialist with our agency. And then it moves to us gathering up all that paperwork that you completed, the safe home study, your background checks, your certificate that you completed all of your training. And then we package all of that together. And then that's sent over to the county that you live in. So if you live in live in the LA County, then we're sending it to DCFS. If you live in the Riverside County, all the different cities in Riverside, then we're sending that to Riverside County and San Bernardino as well. And so it depends what's happening with them. Sometimes it can go really fast, and then sometimes it takes time. So I would say an estimated amount of time it would take to go through the entire process would be anywhere between maybe 3 and 4 months.
Oh, that's not long.
No,
that's a season. It's a quarter.
It's a quarter, and if you are on top of it as far as your paperwork is concerned, because sometimes I'll when I'm training, I'll say, hey, if when we start handing out the packets, application packets, if you've been married before, we need divorce decrees, we need marriage license, all the different things, all that you have done over a period of time in your life. We need that documentation. So that we can go forward. So be digging that stuff out, because I had one lady, and I'm telling you the honest truth. She had been married 4 times, and she said that she threw away all of her marriage decree, divorce decrees. Threw them all away. And I said, well, ma'am, you're gonna have to request, to get, copies. And she said, I don't want to go through all of that. And I said, well, we have to have that, and I always let people know these are not my rules. These are the rules that are created by the state and the county. So we have to follow those rules. Okay.
And I want to say, so you basically they're gonna check my car too?
Yes, we do. We check your car.
So I don't have a car. I can't be a resource parent.
You could be a resource parent if it was just based on your car. Your car is good.
So folks that don't have a car, they can't be resource parents?
Oh, well, no, that's not necessarily so. We've had people who don't drive, but they have to know how they're going to get kids to school, how they're going to get them. Yeah.
I'm like, these kids, I mean, I hate to say it, but they coming from dire situations.
Yeah.
And we putting them into the lap of luxury. They got to wean their way into,
No, you know what? And honestly, that is, I just believe that all children deserve to have the best, and if their parents are unable to give them the best, and there's a foster parent or a resource parent out there that has what it takes, that has the resources to do that, then why not? The only thing I say is don't think that providing children with resources, TVs and clothes and all kinds of nice things, makes them feel like they don't have an allegiance to their parent, because they do. And sometimes, resource parents get their feelings hurt because they're like, I'm giving this kid everything he or she didn't have before, and they're still telling me about their mama, and it's like, but that's their mom.
That's their mom, and you shouldn't be trying to erase their mother's memory from them either. With a PS5, you can't do that.
I tell my foster parents or my resource parents all the time, we are here to take care of the children. What their mama did, what their parents did, their family did, is none of our business. As long as it's not affecting what we're supposed to be doing, then we stay out of that. We let the county handle that.
I love that. All right, we're going to take these last 3 questions or comments, and we're going to wrap it up because we're already over time. So Renee Louise asks, if someone becomes a resource parent and for some reason stops, can they become a resource parent again without redoing the home study?
No. If you were a resource parent and you decertified your home, you yourself decertified your home, you said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, you have to go through the entire process again. Mm-hmm.
Okay, love that. Can siblings be taken in?
Absolutely, yes.
Got it. Are resource parents told an estimated amount of time they will have the child?
Typically they say, the child may be there anywhere from like 3 months. It just depends. It depends on what the situation and why they were removed. If the parent had certain issues going on and they're going to have to go through classes and trainings and all kinds of stuff like that, and there are no family members to take the child, you can have the child for quite a while. And typically, if we know that it's going to be a long-term placement, they will let you know that.
And that's my thing. I have abandonment issues. I can't get attached to Junebug, and then you come, out the clip and say, well, his mother did all her stuff and she needs him back. And I done got he all cleaned up now and he got a little ball fade. We dressing alike, we best friends. And then you say, well, he got to go back with his mama now. I'm like, well, no, that can't happen. Look at all the work I've done. He's a totally different child.
That's the hard part.
That's the reality of being a resource parent.
But you have to know that's your job. You are a resource parent. You are providing a resource for a child until either their parent can do better or until there's a more permanent situation that, but if that child, their parent doesn't, get them back or they lose their parental rights, then you can start moving toward adoption. We have quite a few of our parents
backfire. That can backfire too if you sign up to be a resource parent and you like Junebug's still here. How much longer he gonna be here, Miss Kim? We dressing like I love him dearly, but I didn't sign up long term. So I mean, can someone call you and say, "Come and get the child"?
Not for no reason at all. No, I mean we do
call you and say, "I'm done. I've got my fill. You can come get him now."
Yeah, we do have children who there are 14-day notices put in to have the child removed. But here's the thing: you have to keep in mind is that you don't want to just start moving kids for no reason at all because, you got bored or you're tired, because you think about the child was already traumatized by being removed from his or her parent.
Right.
Okay. And so moving children from placement to placement to placement is really frowned upon. we try to work things out. If there's an issue going on with the child's misbehaving, got problems, then we try to, bring the county workers, the therapists, all the people together who are involved in the child's life. We try to bring them together and come to some kind of solution as to how we can preserve that placement. So yeah, moving kids around is not what we like to do. It's like a last resort, if you will. If that child, there. Don't get me wrong. There are some times where we're like, okay, come get them.
Right, got it. All right.
But we try not to do that.
Okay. This has been a phenomenal conversation, very informative, very enlightening. Prayerfully, everyone, your questions was answered. Thank y'all for watching. Kimberly Ervin, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do your spiel on how folks can contact you, reach out to Fred Jefferson Memorial Home.
Yes, Memorial Home. So they can, right. You can go to our website is fredjefferson.org. And then if you want to look us up on Facebook, it's Fred Jefferson Memorial Homes. You can just type that in and it should come up. So fredjefferson.org. And then if you want to reach me to set up a time to do some orientation or just talk about it, if you have more questions, you just, you can email me at KERV like Victor IN at fredjefferson.org. And you can call the office. That number is 310-763-1660. Okay.
Awesome. I know that it is a lot more questions. Tasha Steiger said this was amazing. She loved that we have a platform for a Black-led FFA, and we can do more. If you want to come back and bring Nakel on here with you, because Nakel has so much to say, But if you two want to come back on at any given time,
absolutely,
please, because the questions keep coming. I'm looking at what Phoenicia Mwepo asked. I don't even want to ask the question because Kwame put it up there. All right, we're over time, but don't yell at me, Kwame. Can a resource parent
this is a great question. This is a really good question.
And this is our last question. Go ahead.
Okay. Maintain a relationship with the child if they return back to the family member. Is this acceptable or not? That is a really good question. Sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people are not happy that you are fostering their children, and so they may not be so nice to you while the child was in your care. And so when the child goes back home, they don't want to have anything else to do with you. One of the things that we try to do is as children exit out of foster care, and I'm talking about aging out, is to maintain those familiar relationships. So like, say, for instance, we have a foster parent who actually retired, an amazing woman, was fostering for years and years and years. And her children went on to be doctors and lawyers and all kinds, did great things. Her kids still come and put their feet under her table during Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving. And I think if I was a resource parent, I think that's how it would be for me, because I love family and I love people and I love kids. And so I think I would maintain those relationships as well.
I love that. I love it. Hey, kudos to you and what Fred Jefferson is doing and making sure that, that our Black kids have the resources that they need. This is phenomenal. It has informed me and all those that are watching that stayed, even when we're past 9 o'clock, y'all still stayed on. I appreciate you. I thank you. Kimberly Ervin, we have got to have you back for part 2 of this empowering conversation.
Please do, because I want to talk about, there's a segment of children in foster care that don't always get good placements, and that's our children from the LGBTQ community. And so we need those children to have, placements, people who are open, to taking them in their home. So that's another segment.
Oh, then you know I'm all about that one. So I'll have
Yeah.
Pyro reach out to get you back on our books again for
Okay.
part 2 of this phenomenal
Absolutely.
conversation. Everyone, please
Yes.
light up the comment section and give her flowers, her kudos, her round of applause. Let the comments light up and let her know how awesome she was on tonight. Thank you, Kimberly Ervin.
You are welcome.
Thank you for watching tonight's episode of The Donta Show. I pray that something was said that really just enlightened you on the foster care resource parent process. I'm going to ask everyone to please check out their website. It is in the comment section, and just get to know what they do. If you or someone else you know is interested in the process or becoming a resource parent, please reach out and connect with them and begin the steps necessary to get a little youngin' in your house. It's a June bug out there with your name on it. Please follow me on Instagram, Donta_Morrison, Donta_Morrison on the IG. Check out the Donta Show on YouTube, youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Subscribe. It is absolutely free. It will cost you absolutely nothing. Also, check out PyroMediaNetwork.com and be a part of the Pyro family, or just check out all the shows that are on Pyro. It's a lot of stuff on there, and I think you would see something that is specific just for you. We'll be back next Monday for another round. Of course, I'll have Dana here. Dana's here with me every single Monday. We're probably going to do Who You Got. Y'all know y'all like when me and Dana cut up and act a fool. So next Monday, we'll do another round of either Who You Got or What Would You Do or something of that nature. Until then, please make sure to practice social distancing, village. I love you. I need y'all to be safe. So wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance, practice social distance. Go ahead and get your COVID test, get vaccinated if you can, get your booster if you already got 2. Do what you got to do so we can get out this pandemic and get back to the streets and we can see each other and hug each other and love on each other. All right. So until then, take care. God bless and be safe. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Good night.